welcome. We're going to go live just a little early so I can check levels and stuff. If you have comments, go for it. You can leave them below. We're going to be looking at this book here, Manufacturing Happy Citizens by, was it Edgar Cabanas and Eva Eloise? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm totally not saying Eva's name right, but this is the book we're going to be looking at. And the upcoming book I'm reading, if you really kind of want to join along, is this one called Jaws by Sandra Kahn and Paul R. I don't even know how to say that one either. Ulrich. And this is the story behind a hidden epidemic. This is one of those, hey, the one weird trick book that the author, I guess the main author, Sandra, noticed that we have a problem with our jaws in society, and she attributes it to the food or the lack of chewing, I suppose. So I'm already about 50 pages in, 150-page book, and I'm already not impressed. So I don't know if we'll get to any talk about that, but if you want to read that, that's what you can read. I've actually had a number of people reach out recently and ask for more information on what I'm reading because they find it interesting. So that is currently what I'm reading, although I'm not impressed. So decide if you're going to read it. It got recommended by a friend of mine who said, this is just amazing, but I don't know how he evaluates them. Certainly not based on, it's just lack of citations on stuff. Lots of, hey, this is totally a good thing, and this totally supports my argument. Oh, by the way, actually, that study was debunked. So why did you cite it? So we'll get into that when I look at that book in a few weeks. So I think going forward, I'll be trying to stream on Mondays, and that'll be my videos for the week. Honestly, because it just is easier. An hour of streaming means it's already production ready and done, and I don't have to do another 30 minutes of editing after I do another 40 minutes of editing after I do a 40-minute video. So that's what we're going to be doing today, I think, or going forward. As usual, I just got my vault open, my standard book notes at the top. And you can't see off on the side screen, but I'm just putting some links in as we go. So I should link to book search plugin, because I'm sure we'll talk about that. That's how I generate these notes at the top. And then I'll probably do that just so I can add some links afterwards to the video for things that I used. Unlikely I'm going to be doing chapters, but we shall see. All right, if you have any questions, you can ask them and we'll see how we go, if we do it or not at the beginning. So the first note I have here talks about a movie. So the movie is, I just do bullet points, The Pursuit of Happiness. No match found. Of course, so The Pursuit of Happiness, and I don't really have a movie thing, so let's go YAML. Let's put in YAML here. And I go back to my books, tags of book. So let's go tags movie. And I guess I'm going to put this into my sources. I don't have a different for book or for movies. That's fine. And it's The Pursuit of Happiness. Where should I find this? I should go here. Oh, that's right. It's actually HPPY because you're supposed to be happiness, as in happy. That's right. I do make a note of that in the book about why it's called that. And URL. There you go. Pursuit of Happiness. It's a movie. It's a movie about Will Smith. It's not about Will Smith, but Will Smith and his son Jaden star in it. And this dude basically pour down on his luck and get the job as a trader, and does amazing. It's a short version. It's a good movie. I've enjoyed it. Pursuit of Happiness is mentioned. We like story because masks to the rule of American capitalist life. So that actually would even be 5 for ship bias. Would be the first thing, and this is mentioned on what page? That's page sorry, just the Roman numeral VI. So I have the book beside me. I'll just look it up. Most do this. Is it page 1? Actually, it might just be page 1. Yeah, just page 1. Well, some of them do their introduction and they do VI auth Roman numerals, so I started writing that, and then it wasn't actually that. This is true. The pursuit of happiness. We like to see these stories because we think, hey, this could maybe happen to me too. The truth is, it probably won't. I don't have my second note. Okay, and this they said it on page 4 is where they said that, which kind of related, so I did a subpoint. Often struggle. All right, that's it. Now we do purpose. You just bold this. It's an important thing. If you look at How to Read a Book by, I forget his name. I'm sure I can look this up quick. .ca to read a book by Mortimer Adler. Yeah, that's the one right there. And he talks about finding a purpose and structure really early. I did not do structure in this one, but I did find the purpose. So the purpose is on page 8. It's to question the validity of the science of studying happiness. Science This is even the positive psychology, so we get to that later in the book where it talks about all this positiveness maybe really doesn't exist. Yeah, maybe it really doesn't exist. So, and that's page 8. And to question the sociological conclusions that happiness is all in our hands and outside any societal systems. So it's really also the purpose. Question the sociological conclusion that happiness in our hands and outside any systems. 8, 9. Specifically, capitalism wants us to believe it's our fault, and if we don't succeed, because then it's our fault, and it's not the fault of the system that creates scarcity. Also a good book, Scarcity. Yeah, not the fault of those systems and scarcity that makes good decisions hard. Those who don't invest diversity into growth. This is how we, again, ignore structural issues like on spirituality, a book there, which I read and researched a little while ago. I didn't actually take notes on it live, but I did. Thinking in wellness communities fest. What's the right word? I want to say structural there. Institutional thinking. So Conspirituality is a book I read a while ago. Not too long ago, a little while ago. 3 factors on your well-being. I want to say I've actually read a lot of the books they refer to in here. The happiness Equation by Sean Acor, I believe. Is it called? This is one that they cite. Then we're going to go to people. This is Martin Seligman as a person. I'm just going to leave it for now. I'm not going to do that. Oh, and then Mahali comes up. 17. And there's a book, Learned Optimism. So let's look at that. Learned Optimism. Oh, there's a few in there. So this is where we go back to page 17 and I find the book, Learned Optimism. I often write who it's by so I can narrow these down faster, but I clearly did not in this. Learned Optimism. It's by Seligman. Okay, do I see it here? Martin E.P. Seligman, that one right there. How to change your mind in your life. That's right, this is the whole... Is it Tony Robbins tells us, right? If you have the right mindset. So, learned optimism. This is supposed to be the counter to learned helplessness. This is where we get into book search. So let's go back over here. Let's say book search, create new book note. Learned optimism, Seligman. Okay, that's in there. Now we can say learned optimism. It's on page 17. Again, I do this because I want to know about it. So then I'd come in here. I think in this case I'd say manufacturing happy citizens doesn't speak of this book highly. Yep, they don't speak of it very highly. So that's what I do, and I created it. So when I did book search, I actually created the note in the proper spot already for me, so I don't need to worry about doing that. And if you have questions about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, or any of the notes, thoughts on the notes, I'd love to hear them. Put them in the chat, and we can deal with them as they come up. So there's another book coming up. Power of... No, I don't have that one in there. The Power of Positive Thinking. I believe that's by Tony Robbins. I don't want Learned Optimism at this moment. Positive Thinking. Oh, Norman Vincent Peale. That's right. Power of Positive Thinking. So let's come back over here, create another book. Search. Thinking. Norman Vincent Peale. Positive Thinking. It's on page 24. Again, doesn't ideas. Just make a note so that if I ever come back to it, I know. And then, oh, Flourish is another one by Seligman, right? I already have that in there, so I don't think I have this. Nope, in there. So create the book note. And let's just add this note in here. Highly. All right. Flourish is on page 26. So now we're getting into some real notes. So again, I've said this before when I do research notes, but I do the tracking of all the books that I get mentioned so that I can hopefully find other books that are mentioned lots. So that even Miss Hallie, Sis Mahali has been linked to 9 times. And I can see, right, I can see all the rest of these are just one, right? Yeah. I linked to Conspirituality 8 times. That could be in separate notes or set in ideas that were prompted by writing them, by reading it. Yeah. So I go back to my notes. After almost 20 years and 64,000 research studies, positive psychology has achieved little more than scattered, ambiguous, inconclusive, contradictory results. So do I have a positive? What do I have under positive thinking, though? Nothing. And it's really different than... No, is it really different? Is positive thinking and positive psychology? I guess I can decide. Where else did I reference this? Backlinks. Wrap the tension, the antidote to happiness. The power of positive thinking. I guess I just did that in the subtle art of not. Interesting. I can't stress enough about pain. Okay. What's this? Have I read this book? I don't think. I haven't read that book either. I really think that positive thinking and positive psychology are they gonna go on the same? Are they the same thing? I think not, actually. So then we'll go G. Let's create this positive psychology, and it is a tag note. As usual, I will link to the tag notes video, tag notes video at, how long have I been recording? 16 minutes and 31 seconds. 16:31. So I'll add that as a chapter marker once this video is up and ready. Tag note, and so that means I move into tags. All right, I got that. Positive psychology after 20 years and 64 case studies has little hard dense. It has, what is it? Big US. It's on page 29. So replication crisis. So there was, I don't know the exact year, but in a lot of social psychology, social sciences, they said that like you just couldn't reproduce studies. They'd be reproduced once and that's it. Produced once and then you couldn't verify it. So Amos Tversky. Okay, Daniel Kahneman is he comes up lots of different research stuff. So I'm adding in well-being, the foundation of hedonic psychology. I'm like 90% sure I do not have that one. So this is called being the foundations of it's an expensive book. All right, book search. Being, and this is by Kahneman, so Kahneman. On page 34, I have another one, Thrive. Do I have that? I do not. Thrive by Richard Layard. Come there. I really need to add a keyboard shortcut. Thrive, Layard, Richard Layard. It's on page 34 as well. I actually want to make a note. See And then I have one more book, Happiness Lessons from a New Science by Laird. I probably don't have that one either. Nope. So Laird. Okay, let's look this up better. Lessons, Laird. Okay, so let's grab my ISBN 13 and see if I can find it that way better. And let's go to my hotkeys book search. And I add this, let's just make it B. All right, so now I can go B, paste, done. Okay, that was it. I should do happiness. I am gonna do that because happiness on its own is gonna be a hard one to link to. So let's say this. Page 37. Again, none of this really talks about it. Okay, so now we have, I really don't have I do have Facebook. Page 40 to the study. Moods. Do I have that in here? Ugh. I hate this site. Too many ads. I'd rather take the Atlantic version. Do I have Zotero open? Zotero. I guess I'll open it up where you can see. Do that. I'll log it. So I'll come back to Obsidian. What do I want to title this? Let's go to Zotero. Not necessarily going to read this. Okay, now we're going to do with it. Zotero link. Done. Note template. So what I want to do now is grab the original URL right there, and I want to grab the Zotero link, because the Zotero link will stick if I try to work on my Linux laptop. It will also work there. Awesome. Robinson Meyer is the author. How do we spell that? Meyer is the author. And this, again, Facebook. Okay, manufacturing. C. That's everything we know. There we go. Perfect. Where did this end up? In my inbox. So let's take this to sources. Done. All right. So that later, I know this study is top of mind now, but later on it may not be, and I want to make sure that that research on Facebook, like what they did, is top of mind for future Curtis, who is not nearly as smart as Curtis today. So Facebook. Okay. Next note, many measures of happiness lack the consistency needed to compute an international basis. Many .43. So this was, I always go back and refer to things, page 43. So this can even be like culturally. Do I have collectivist? Nope. Independent feelings. Yeah, so just not as comparable. And realistically, much of this is, European/American values. So we evaluate happiness based on the things that European/North America says is important, not necessarily what each society individually thinks is important. So it makes it hard to measure and really influences a lot of the research to North American/European styles of thinking. Oh, happiness rhetoric. Happiness rhetoric. Something I have. What is happiness rhetoric? Happiness rhetoric, the idea that we should always be happy. In children's literature and children's work, this is we stop anything bad from happening to our kids because it'll harm them. It harms us, like adults, when you're trying to strive for your dream job because you're not happy. This harms relationships when the love wears off and we look for that perfect soulmate that we will always love and will always be happy with. Doesn't happen. Did 20 years of marriage. Do I always love my wife? It's a hard distinction, I suppose. I can never imagine myself being without her, I suppose. Or it feels extremely painful when I think maybe I wouldn't have her around. So, but it's happiness rhetoric. We should always be happy. Everything should always be good. That lets you say people seeing the success of capitalist lie. All right, let's check the front camera because I think I hear an adult voice upstairs. My wife is out at the moment, but I do have children now. I should at least see what's happening. Oh, that's my wife coming home a few minutes ago, so we should be good. All right. I got, a 6-year-old upstairs. It's capitalist lie. Happiness rhetoric. This is what people with money, people being successful say. Oh, but it inspires people to match me, right? This is what Tony Robbins would say. Is how Robbins finds himself inspired by his success. Meritocracy, which is a terrible idea, really, because it really just rewards people that have time. So it disadvantages women. Right, I got a bunch of stuff on this. American male income is a stagnant 50 years. assumes we're all measuring value someone provides properly, so it doesn't actually, it values economic capitalist expressions of value, not necessarily what is actually valuable to society. Because I think in many ways what I do as a programmer, even as doing these videos, is far less valuable than someone working in a long-term care facility. Right? That's a more valuable thing to society, or a teacher. And yet I get paid far more. And I have a note on with the chapter summary, which I don't feel is applicable at the moment. Okay, so we're on to chapter 2. Kindling. Tag is neolism. Page 50. Let's create this as a tag note now. Neoliberalism. Tag note. What is it though? I honestly don't know. Neoliberalism. I should do this as an alias. Note template. Aliases. Neoism. Cool. Alias. URL here. Is a term used by late political reappearance, free market capitalism, after it fell into decline. A factor in the rise of conservative and right libertarian organizations, political parties, and think tanks promptly. Policies of economic liberalization, privatization, deregulation, all these things that much of it advantages businesses at the expense of societies. Realistically, I should probably come back in and summarize this. Let's go into tags though. Okay, neoliberalism is a tag there. So again, part of this is knowing that I'm building a large index of everything that I have read so that I can come back later and really see what's up. So I could look up neoliberalism and find it on this book, find it in other books theoretically, although clearly I only have it once. So you kind of continue to build a bigger and bigger tag network in these things. So much happiness scientist expresses personal responsibility and ignores any structural fractures in society. Much science ignores role society. Page 53. Totalism wants you to think you picture your life. I actually believe I have this right there. That's actually really what I want to link to. I want you to believe you picked your life. And you know what? For good measure, I can even come in here. Writing idea. When your school's underfunded and your parents have to work multiple minimum wage jobs, your city is spread out and poor, it's easy to dive into the world around you because it's all that seems possible. But then you chose to do this instead of choose a life instead of being helpless. It wants you to think that it's your choice and the system works just fine. If it's your choice, then you won't look at the broken system and question why it's so broken. And you should change it. Maybe you should change it. Capitalism. Let me look at this. Yeah, this is a full writing idea, so I should really actually not include. I should just link to the note. So I'll come back to it later. So book. Do I have this? Authentic. I do not. This is authentic happiness. Oh, I get to use my keyboard command. Authentic happiness. Who does this? Seligman. You know, I do question, not for this book, but say in this Jaws book, they reference this research of like 2 people the whole time as like, this justifies us because these 2 people did research. I do wonder that. I do wonder if that's really a useful metric. So, 90% of human happiness is attributable to individual factors. What happens to you matters less than how you perceive what happens to you. 57. Trying to decide before I write these ideas down, did the book say this is because that's what people want us to believe? Okay. In his book, Authentic Happiness, he has some formula. Three key assumptions. Okay, so is two factors that happens to you matters less than perceive it. It's both on page 57. Again, this is over any type of issues that people, and realistically, by the very fact of perceive, being a researcher, being able to do this, you are already in the advantage group. The How of Happiness. The How of Happiness. That was by Sonia something. Sonia, that's right. So this is Happiness is cited on page 57. Smile or die. Or dying. Dies on page 58. They are positive psychology. See, that one's actually interesting. That's a book I may be interested in. Or die. That one looks interesting. Was there a ride or die in there too? I remember. Or smile or die. Smile, pout, pout, fish. I remember. We actually have that book. It wasn't a bad book. Well, for a kid, I thought it was okay. That's a really cheap book. I may have to buy that. I'll leave that tab open now since I might buy that book. And then we also have Meritocracy on page 60. As I think about this positive psychology stuff, it also makes me think about Quiet. I've read it, but I don't have the author handy. Quiet, right there, by Susan King. This is some of my old stuff where I actually just took the notes you're watching me take. I turned them into a writing thing right away, so I didn't actually keep the individual notes. But the extrovert ideal, where you should be happy, you should be an extrovert, and if you're not, then something's wrong with you. So, when you convince that is chiefly film change page 64 to Persian work ethic. They both effort work the best life. Puritan work ethic comes literally from the Puritans and their idea that hardworking was godliness, essentially. So the harder you work, the more godly you were. So, yeah. Mindfulness is another tag. It's on page 66. Mindfulness thrives on individual solutions to structural issues because you're again relying on yourself. This relies on individual issues in society. Is that issues is inside you, not outside. Again, you aren't succeeding because you're not getting jobs. It's because it's your fault, not because the transit system makes it hard for you to get to anywhere that you can work. It's your fault. Book, The Buddha Pill. Oh, I don't have that one. Buddha Pill. There we go. And this is about meditation. Buddha Pill page 67. Crazy like us. Nope, don't have that one either. Who's that by? Do I have it? Ethan Waters. That's it, Ethan Waters. Oh, globalization of the American psyche. Page 69. I'm sure some people are looking, hey, Curtis, you do this. You do all this on Amazon. I do. What I actually do is every so often I have a book tab. Crazy like us. Ethan Waters. You see it here, books, and I actually click on that and send it all off to a used bookstore where I visit occasionally because I used to live down there around the corner. So I send that in. The Body Keeps Score. I've heard of that book too. Anyway, so then I send it off to them and I say, hey, can you get these books? Maybe. And they watch for them or they buy them. Nah, they usually just watch for them. So when they come in, like they called me yesterday and had a book that I ordered like a year ago, asked for a year ago. So then I don't have to just buy books all the time, which is good. The rising suicide rate in India may have a connection to the globalization of individualism. I don't know. I don't have anything to say about that, so I'm going to leave it. Again, so I put a little tick beside the page number when it's been processed, so I just know. Although this has, I use Leuchtturm notebooks to take all my book notes, so it has 2 tabs in it, so I always know that one is where I'm currently at for book notes, and one is kind of where I need to process. So I'm just leaving the one where I'm taking notes on JAWS and processing. So by putting mindfulness as a priority in school, the solutions to increasing educational disparity between rich, poor, growing cost of higher education, precarious admissions, and more don't need to be addressed because it's more economical to just work on the internal lives. education. What's this? The case against education. Okay, let's look this up. The case against education. Sources, books, and read-wise books. Purpose. Let's take those ones instead. So the case against education says that basically we don't need so much education. After grade 9, a lot of it's pointless as far as most people's future endeavors. And that in even the case of like all this, how expensive post-secondary education has become, one of the big issues is that we don't force education institutes to actually guarantee the loans, guarantee the education that people are going to get. They just get to not worry about it. And that as we increase the educational requirement for jobs, it just lets rich people run further. So even as we try to support minorities, people who are socially disadvantaged, have social struggles, rich people just put more money into their kids and then they run further. So you used to just have to have a high school degree. If you passed that, then you were educated. Then it was, wait. You know, we need to go further because more people are getting these. So then it was a college degree, and now it's a master's and maybe a PhD, stuff like that. So that's what that says in a short synopsis of it. I think I looked at that. Let me see. Site. CA Education. I did by Brian Kaplan. There you go. I will put that right here in the comments for people if you want to look at that. That's where I looked at it. I did a video on it, a case against education. I'm trying to do drawing videos for a bit, which is just fun. It's just fun, to be honest. I need to do those again, maybe more. Although honestly, book review videos do not do well. They just don't do well. People say they want them, but then most people don't actually watch them. So next I have a paper, does high self-esteem cause better performance? So, does high self-esteem cause better performance? That's the one I'm looking for. I can't get any of these because... can I get them? Sweet. Can I just save it? Download. PDF. Allow. So now, go over to my downloads. This is actually something that I've struggled in with Zotero, that clipping PDFs is harder than it feels it should be. Like, I just want to add this. I don't want to like add it over here. No. I don't. Oh, it did add. And it did give me nice. Sweet. So I found before I like highlight things and or get it highlighted, drag it over something, it doesn't work very well, but does high self-esteem cause better performance? Not what I wanted. I actually want this. So then we're going to come back to Obsidian. I'm going to create a note. Okay. I'm going to go note template. Tags, it's going to get one real tag to summarize. And then we're going to go Zotero, paste again. Select the Zotero link. Now it says DT, that's because I was using Devon Think before. Then I would also come in here and select the actual link. Like that. URL. Perfect. So that's to summarize, is going to go into sources. Now I can actually come in here and cite the paper. Does, I suppose, oh, I copied, what is it? Does high self-esteem. There you go, this is cited on page 79. Will I ever get to read that? I don't know. I think that a lot of my real in-depth is project-based. My real in-depth research would be project-based. So if this project comes up and I really need to read the paper, I have the paper and I can read it. So happiness science pushes personal responsibility and ignores any structural issues. I've said this lots of times. That may cause lack of happiness. Yeah, okay. So this tons of times. That was actually just a chapter summary. So now we're on to chapter 3, positivity at work. That might be a highlight of one of the books, that happiness science pushes personal responsibility, which is very, again, Western European, American idea, capitalist idea. And it says it's all you. It's all your fault. Confessions of a Failed Self-Help Guru. Nope, I don't have it. So a help guru. I don't see it, so let's come over here. CA. Guru. Really, I don't have that one. 82. It's on page 82. Yeah. 82. Confessions of a Failed. Michelle Goodman. Confessions of a Failed. Maybe it's just not a book. Maybe it's a. Guru. Michelle Goodman. What else has she done? I feel like I have read Goodman. So I'm not actually going to grab this article. So from reading that, and again, actually from reading Conspirituality, talks a lot about Deepak Chopra being a fraud. And this whole New Age movement stuff. So Conspirituality is an entire book about that. I am not going to worry about this article then, because I read an entire book on it. So now we have, what is it? Abraham Maslow, which did Maslow's hierarchy of needs. 87. Needs is also page 87, so that's this pyramid here. So hierarchy of needs, saying that this is what you need: psychological safety, belonging and love, esteem, cognitive aesthetic, self-actualization, and transcendence. So basically saying, like, before you can even think about these higher things, you need to be able to do, like, have food. You need to be safe first. Have food, stuff like that. Feel your physiological, right? You need food. Then you start thinking about your own safety. Then you start thinking about love. Then you start thinking about your own self-esteem and your cognitive health and aesthetic. So this book says numerous times that we were kind of flipping that on your head, that like transcendence, self-actualization, happiness comes first, and then the other things will happen. Neoliberalism. Mentioned again on page 88. And was it parapsychology inverts the... There you do that. Psychology inverts Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Happiness, self-actualization, and the first thing you need to do if you find it the stuff like food will come page 92. This is for because with stuff job. I'll tell you it's a good job. Happiness Advantage. I have read this book. This is page 93. Readwise books, sources books. 93, and it's one by Sean Acor, which I really liked when I read it. I'd have to do it. Real Happiness at Work by Jessica Price Jones. Is that really what it is? Nope, that's by Sharon Salzberg. So that's a different book. Of course, because I have blocking. I have ad blocking across my whole network. Real Happiness at Work by Salzberg. But I have a book here by Jessica Price Jones. Jones. There it is. Okay, so again, wrong book. Work. Yeah. I did it. All right. It's on page 95. Negative. Hindering your own performance. So just tough it out and be awesome. So we come in here and put another note in. What's this? This book. Okay, manufacturing happy citizens. Back to that. Done another page of notes. So how many do we have left? 1, 2, 3. 3 pages of notes. Any questions? Love to hear them. Any ideas or thoughts you're doing here? Take them away. All the job perks, laundry, and free food sound good, but they are really there to make you work more, and then you don't get paid extra for it. It's like a casino that blocks you in, right? Casino blocks you in. Psychology, I don't have that. Casino locks you in by like trickery. That's what a lot of jobs do too. Book, positive psychology, coaching. Now, coaching is talked about on page 99. Idea that as job is opportunity, it's good for companies because you should be happy to have it. Ooh. They want you to think about the economic capitalist requirement of work to eat and have shelter. And that this is page 9. People are making a happy worker. It's a new paper. I don't want that. Worker. No, I want a Google Scholar. By who does this? Making a happy worker. Cavanas. I won't buy this guy. There it is. I don't want to give you my stuff. I would never go to Sci-Hub and look for stuff. No, I don't want to sign in. I just want it. Paper link available. I might just skip it if I can't find it. Something I read, which I've never tried, actually I should one time, is that most of the people who do research papers, if you just email them, they'll send you the paper. Because they want people to hear it. I'm not going to do anything with that note, though, because I can't get the paper. So we emphasize resilience in the face of changing job market and bypass raising wages or more vacation time or hiring more people so you're not overworked. Need to resilience. Of market. Inflation or wages. Income gap. Here's and C. Sweet. Page 102. Again. Expecting more from them. Another one. Resilience at work. I have totally bought in, supported many of these arguments. How do you spell resilience? work. Page 104. Ants. Again, pushing resilience no matter what work throws at you is good for employers, because then they can say you're not resilient enough. Not we're treating you like crap, but you're not resilient enough. You need to be more resilient. Be worship. This makes me think of what does it pay? Let me take this note. Entree Leadership by Dave, not Dave Matthews. Dave, he's a financial coach guy. Does Financial Peace University. Anyway, and him like, I want like entrepreneurs in my business, which is good for him, not necessarily good for the employees. Ship. I found it over here. Does it put the it does put the ISBN in. Let's look that up. Who's the author of this? I got a Google Books link. That's just to the cover. I wonder if I can find it. What? .com and the Entrepreneurship for Human Flourishing. There it is. I found it. Again, you got questions, I'll take them. Here's the ISBN there. CA, paste. No, eh? Is that really that hard to get, eh? 2014. Get the book. Here, you're still not going to find it, eh? I'll go to Amazon.com. I'm just trying to evaluate whether I want to read the book or not. There it is right there. Oh, I can get it out of the US. No profit. Okay, so this is one that says, hey, we should be creating more entrepreneurs, which I would say is, again, a push from, like, for capitalist stuff. So I want to actually go like this and come in here. I'm just going to add one purchase right there to have some note of where I found it. Okay. On to chapter 4. Oh, not dollar signs. 4. Narrative of happiness lacks specifics because that lets the story be told to fit anyone all the time. Of finding happiness. I would say success. is also like the faith healers, right? We're like, oh, you weren't happy enough, you didn't have enough faith, that's why you're not healed. Obviously now viewed as continuous improvement of positive stuff, not merely the absence of negative. Whereas I'm keeping up with the Joneses. More. 4. I've got a book called, what is it, The Day the World Stopped Shopping? The Day the World Stopped Shopping by J.B. McKinnon, I think it is. Let's look it up so you can see it too. Yeah, I can do it here. Okay. An environmental book, but still it looks interesting to me. And I own it, so clearly it's interesting enough for me to buy it. So let's put this in here. If you're interested in that, you can take that look at that book. Kind of an anti-consumerist book. Do I have this in here? Day for okay. Often to track your is in surveillance capitalism. Page 127. You don't get value. Yeah, all of the economic value is captured by the company anyways. On becoming a person as a book. A person. Nope. Don't have it. Let's look this up. I need a better search. I think at one point I had a by Carl Rogers. Yep. That's not a lot about it, eh? It's a therapy book, though. I at one point had an extension in here that let me do like a : search and find things. What's the book? Person by Rogers. Okay. (127). Next, Motivation and Personality by Abraham Maslow. I definitely don't have that one, so let's do this. By Maslow. Okay, I need to look that up. I do need to look that up. Alright, let's grab this 3rd edition. Grab the ISBN. Really? It's that hard to find it? Maslow. A Theory of Human Motivation. Is that a different book? Let's go up twice. Motivation. Oh, there it is. Motivation and Personality. page 128. So again, questions about book notes, you got them. I'd love to answer them, so feel free to ask questions. We're just continuing to take notes on manufacturing happy citizens. The idea behind being authentic is that you are only truly happy when you are yourself. It is pushed into the economic realm by telling us that all our purchases can be authentic, thus consumerism is part of showing our authentic self. Worthy pursuit. Paper marketization and recasting of the professional. Marketization and recasting of the professional self. ResearchGate. No, I don't want to. Oh, I did download it. Sweet. I'll delete the other one here. Bring up Zotero on my front screen. Let it do its thing. Okay, so now I know that it's not going to allow me to put the colon in here. So let's do this. Note template. Zotero. There's my Zotero link. And my URL. There it is right there. URL. And this gets to summarize. Now we can come in here. What was it, the first option? Marketization. On page 132. What does it say this is about? I don't want to tag it with anything else. Oh, personal branding. Whew. So I want to tag this as brand that works. Doesn't do branding. Is it still in the same spot? Oh, hey, Philip. It does not distract me at all, Philip. I sent you an email earlier today just before I got on the stream too, Philip. So, Philip asked, and going to Amazon and searching for books does not distract you at all. I feel like I would do that. Say, nope, it doesn't. It doesn't. I just keep going. Honestly, it might be more distracting to do the talking here, so. Anyway. Happiness Effect by Donna Freitas. Okay, so let's come here. New book. I don't think I have this one. This effect. Okay. Effect. Well, I'll look for your answer, Philip. That's good. Happiness Effect by Donna. Which is actually my mom's name is Donna. The Happiness Effect. As mentioned on page 133. Let's look this up. Amazon.ca. Happiness Effect by Donna. A generation to appear perfect at any cost. Yeah, I like that one. Maybe I'll keep that one. Maybe we'll order that. We'll see. Whew, that's how I get the 300 plus books I have, by just ordering books because they're interesting. Social media claims to want authenticity. Actually, I should come in here and tag this with tag notes as social media and actually happiness rhetoric, because it would go into my same idea of happiness rhetoric that I got to earlier. Authenticity, but only if it's positive stuff. Showing negativity is stigmatized. I don't. Stigmatized by people. Yeah, this is actually very common as well in like mental health and everything, where depression, stuff like that, is stigmatized as something really bad. And the truth is, we all go through times like that. Like, we all have times that we're depressed, that things aren't going well, and it's just normal. It's totally normal. Happiness rhetoric leads us to the idea that we are never done and always have a bit more growing. No. Incessant incompleteness, that's right. And this is actually a quote, so let's quote this. Incessant completeness is one of the central thoughts of narrative. I just like that. There's more to the quote actually. On page 139. Thus, this is my own note, which I just know by the bullet point. Thus, we always need advice. Often do pay for the advice. Happy, because you're always incomplete. There's always more you could do. I was thinking about this as I was trying to sit in the hammock on the weekend, actually, that it's hard to be not productive. Like, I was just sitting there chilling after doing like a ton of stuff and feeling guilty about not continuing to work, about not continuing to really do stuff. I felt bad that I sat in the hammock for an hour. I had an entire day of like bike rides for myself, chores and getting the house going and kids to stuff. And then I was like, but I'm sitting for an hour. This is a bad, like, there's like a need inside to just continue to do stuff. And that's not great. Like, we really shouldn't, I don't think should be that. There's a book. Desperately, I don't have it. .ca. It's a desperately seeking self-improvement. A year inside the optimization movement by Carl Cederstrom. I'll come in here and say book. Andy Spicer. Desperately. This is on page 140. I wonder if this is similar to Conspirituality, which talked, again, not humor. This one is a humor book, it says. Hang on, that looks interesting. I'm not going to buy it via Kindle, though. I'm going to buy it on paperback. I don't know, interesting. We'll see. I will not. I'll think off camera about what I'm going to buy. Stoicism. Same thing, really. Page 143. Page 5. Happy is the new normal. 5. Normal. The Happiness Project. It's on page. It's by Gretchen Rubin, I believe. Didn't love it. I didn't think she was a very good writer, actually. Well, she's, you know, a famous writer now, semi-famous writer. Culture has come to equate being happy with being a good person. Come to equate being some person. This actually reminds me of our culture's current, you must be successful if you're working all the time. We talk about like Stoicism or other stuff, right? That was referenced on page 143 up above. But then we look at like Greek time, Roman times, where we idolize as a society very often as like this great thing. They would view if you're working all the time, you're not successful because you didn't have freedom. Leisure used to be an important thing. Like, Puritan/Protestant work ethic, which I guess just talked about, saying work is godliness. Emotions that are bad, such as hatred, also spawn good things. These and so as I write this, I realize that that's a little. Be careful as we talk about that, I suppose, because you also see a bunch of white dudes being angry that black people or LGBTQ community has any type of standing in society, and they're angry and they're showing their hatred and violence. So I'm writing a book, not currently. Well, that's not true. I'm writing a short guidebook. Not what we're looking at right now, but I'm just taking notes. These are notes based on my learning. Learned helplessness is the idea that you just learn you can't avoid a situation. So you're helpless to it. A child called it. Nope. A child called it. Oh. That sounds like a terrible story. As in one I may not want to read. It. It's on page 66. Now, what were they referencing there for this book? 166. That can be important. I think they're, because I just talked about learned helplessness. They're talking about some people are exceptionally resilient no matter what. If there was a dog experiment where they shocked the dog and eventually they showed the dogs they couldn't get away from it, and they learned helplessness. They learned that they couldn't, so they just whimper even when they could get away later. So. Yeah, so there's a book in 1975. Actually, there's a paper in 72, a book in 75 that talked about this by, what was his name? By Seligman again. Yeah, that's what I thought. I remember learning about this in psychology. I do not publish my notes. I guess user upvote comment. Although I do. That's not true. I do publish some of them. I don't publish them in their raw form. I publish the written stuff that comes after them, not the notes in the raw form. They're my notes. Like, I don't think they mean a lot to everyone. Like, do you know about Protestant worth ethic or Puritan worth ethic or other things like that? I'm going to say no, at least not in the same form as I understand it, or happiness rhetoric. We have one called Universe Juice. Yeah, Universe Juice as well. There's a tag. What does universe juice mean? Do you know? I can tell you what I have it meaning, but it means something to me, and that's part of your notes. Part of your notes is learning how to normalize the language of other people and turning it into your own ideas, right? So universe juice, I call this when people are like, talk about dreaming big and things will happen just because you dream big. Because you're, and I guess looking at this book, because you're happy. But ultimately, this is survivorship bias in the stories and doesn't show all the other people that followed the advice and are still stuck. They dreamed big, they pushed, they did this. And this actually, again, really relates to happiness or manufacturing happy citizens, because it's all vague enough, your advice to these things, that you can always say, well, maybe you didn't get there, right? So I can actually come back and look at, where was that? Bag. See, also universe juice. Those are like, the universe juice will just help you win this idea because you have universe juice. I hate that. Universe juice bugs me. It's like, also Zebratic. What's a Zebratic question? So that's why I don't publish my notes, because I don't think that in their raw form they'll be useful to people. I think that they will just not be useful. The finalized ones will. I'm here whining of my dog. I don't know. It's outside my window anyways. This previous comment, like something at the law of attraction, but with a lot of work. I am still not sure I know what you mean, Philip. Universe juice is this nebulous, hey, you'll just win because you thought about it. Story of over massive diversity. Are resilient. That's fine. Stances. What's this one? Man's search for meaning. I know I have this. Man's search for meaning. Page 166. Positive psychology says, no matter how bad things are, you choose your attitude. So these little numbers, if you ask, are Strange New Worlds plugin for Obsidian. No. You can use your attitude. See, it's hard because I think I actually agree with this. You can largely choose your attitude or how you respond. But it's easy to say that you do that, and then any time you don't, or anytime there's a big negative, you are not choosing your response properly. So then and ignoring any of the structural issues with society, any of the structural issues that make it hard to even make a choice. How does this square with? So Scarcity is a great book. What's with the Scarcity Trap? Let's open that up for you. Scarcity Trap. When your own actions contribute to the scarcity, continuing, like not skipping a purchase to save financial freedom in the future, or payday loans. So Philip, yeah, this to the broadcast. Does that work? It does. Sweet. Let's take away me though. Philip says, universe juice is like attracting things with your wishes, but at the same time, not only sitting on your hands and having wishful thinking, but also doing something about it. Again, most universe juice ideas, though, are not just taking it away. How do I get that off the screen again? Oh, X right there. X. It's not just actually doing something. It's just the universe just brings things to you. as I understand the idea. That's how I use it. It's the universe just brings things to you. Scarcity trap isn't the right word for this. Scarcity. How scarcity captures the mind. Just as starving subject have food on their mind. We experience scarcity of any kind. We become absorbed by it. This ignores a square with the scarcity captures the mind. Scarcity happening. You can't. You're missing. There's a great book called Scarcity that talks about this, that when you are in any type of scarcity, financial scarcity, housing scarcity, like it's hard to make any other decision that's good because you have so much brain power focused toward this one thing. You just can't do anything else. So, and there's also, do I have bandwidth? High bandwidth, mental bandwidth. Is that what I'm looking for? There's another one. Again, this is the mental bandwidth thing. With, notes. Mental bandwidth. They had mental bandwidth to invest. So this is again from basic income. With basic income, more people had more mental bandwidth. So let's do mental bandwidth. Less scarcity. More mental bandwidth. See basic income ideas. Scarcity. Yes, I am a proponent of UBI, Universal Basic Income. Conclusion. We're coming to the end. Instructions. So if you have any more questions, ask them. So when I am done at these notes, I'm going to move on. What's this book? Instructions on how to wind a watch. Apple Watch User Guide. Acoustic Helmet. Beginner Ukulele. By Julio Cortazar. Let's just do this. Julio. I'm not going to take that then. So I can't find it, so I'm not going to worry about it. Our obsession with time has turned from being... Ooh. This is another good one. With time from being a servant to it being days. That's a good one. Such a time and productivity and everything has turned into it being the master of our days. Today doesn't fit to our lives. Our happiness pushed by culture. Page 177. And I think that's it for the day. I'll do it for a few more minutes. It's a 90-minute session. And I know, at least Philip, since you're here, you asked about what books I'm reading in the future, stuff like that. Just because you thought it'd be interesting. I said this at the beginning of the stream. I don't know if you're here. I'm reading Jaws right now, which is about the story of a hidden epidemic where the author claims that because we don't chew a lot, our jaws are forming. We're getting I guess the British idea of a weak chin. I don't think it's great right now. It's the shortest version. It does stuff like, where's the set of photos? Oh, it takes these three men here, right? Grandpa, dad, son, and says, look at the chin structure. Grandpa has like a chin that sticks out. Look at the dad has a slightly back chin and the son has a very back chin. Dad grew up in like rural India where he would have chewed way more clearly. They say clearly, no citation. And these two, presumably is the words they use, presumably have a more Western or industrial diet. And look at their chins. It doesn't work as well. Their chins go back and it cuts their airway off. So they have some citations in here. I searched for some citations as I've been reading it, and like one of them, they're like, this guy really talks about this and it's really good, and he's like a nutritionist influencer, not a research scientist. I've looked at some other research papers that they cited from the 80s, and they really hinge most of their arguments on one or two. And the whole, again, intro story is like, hey, we were out for dinner with a friend of ours who writes books, and we said, hey, we found this cool thing. He said, you found this is astonishing. You must share this with everyone. So it's like a one weird trick book, which I don't really think I agree with. So is that the mewing? Yeah, the whining you probably heard might have been the dog. I actually would like a better pattern microphone that picks up less of my outside sound. And the garage is right here. Not garage, is the book about mewing. I don't actually know. Chewing. Did I say chewing or mewing? Chewing. So anyway, that book, I am not sure that it is great. Talking about like oral and dental health, like against sleep apnea. Again, another thing they cited just on my reading session this morning, like, hey, we were at this Florida entertainment park, Disney probably. They didn't say Disney, but seems plausible. Anyways, they said that all the kids had bags under their eyes and they all walked around with mouth breathers. And my husband's like, whoa, it's mouth breather zombie time. And they're like, look at the bags. They're clearly not sleeping well either. And I thought, well, okay, number one, this book isn't that old, so maybe it was all the screens they were looking at. Number two, they're at an amusement park. They're staying up and doing way more. Like, maybe they have bags under their eyes because they're not getting enough sleep because they're at an amusement park, presumably for a few days. Anyways. Exercises and fixing the jaw. Yes, probably upvote comment. It is something like that. Then if it's exercises to fix the jaw, they talk a lot about oral posture and fixing that. I am unsure that it's really a great book though. So, but that's what I'm reading right now. After that, I'm probably actually going to jump into a quick read of the Para method. I haven't loved Tiago Forte's work. I think he's really trying to invent words like para, and code is another one, CODE, to have intellectual property to sell you stuff. So anyway, that's it. And you can hear my dog barking again, possibly for the bear that is, roaming our neighborhood sometimes. That's it. I'm gonna head off. Thanks for watching. I'll probably be streaming again. I will try to have a better heads up on when I'm streaming though to do this. I'm gonna do less highly produced videos, more streaming for a while at least, because that's what fits my schedule and is what I want to do. And the ultimate thing is me producing videos, producing content needs to be something that I want to do. Have an awesome day.